Tokyo 21, presented locally by IT&E.
KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus, home of Guam's first and only lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit carsplusguam.com for details. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on Prime Time, the governor extends a public health emergency declaration through June. Plus, the University of Guam releases findings regarding how the pandemic affected individuals and businesses. And the Guam Department of Education gears up for summer school.
Half a day and good evening, everyone. Guahusi Isaiah Uggan, and thanks for tuning in. Late this afternoon, Governor Julian Guerrero issued a new executive order extending the public health emergency declaration for another month till July 1st. The island remains in pandemic condition of readiness 3. Meanwhile, the legislature late today voted to reject an override attempt of the governor's veto to Minority Leader Chris Dueñas' bill to limit her ability to extend a public health emergency. Dueñas made the motion during session Wednesday. He argued once again that he was not trying to take away the governor's authority, but rather to require her to justify to senators why there was a need to extend a public health emergency.
And while I'm sure there was a medical and a science-based reasoning behind some of the decisions, perhaps, I think that there are differing opinions with regard to that. And the least we could do is hear it out. You know, if the legislature wants to shut down a public health emergency, they have the power. 8 votes on a resolution, done. Emergency over. Of course, the governor could issue an executive order minutes later, restarting one. But is that the process we want to go through? I don't think so, Madam Speaker.
Once again, the override fell at 8-7 with voting essentially along party lines, except Democrat Speaker Therese Serlahi voting yes, but Republican Mary Torres voting no. Senators also voted on 13 other bills to wrap up the May legislative session today. The bill passed includes Senator Amanda Shelton's measure to adopt a procurement policy that favors women-owned businesses, Senator Joe San Augustine's bill to permanently increase the gross threshold for limited exemptions on the business privilege tax for certain small businesses, Senator Jim Moylan's measure to require monthly reporting and justification for sole source emergency purchases, and Senator Joanne's bill to require the broadcasting of government meetings. Senator Sabina Perez's bill to amend payment for requirements for cigarette tax stamps fell by a 7-8 vote, and another close 8-7 vote. Lawmakers passed a heavily debated resolution by Vice Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes. It expresses the Guam's legislature support for a U.S. House resolution that rejects the so-called insular cases. These are a U.S. Supreme Court rulings that govern the relationship with American territories that are seen by many as racist. Federal drug defendant Daryl J. Guerrero allegedly made more PayTel phone calls last week that are suspected to be drug-related transactions. According to Assistant U.S. Attorney Laura Sambaro, about 9 more phone calls were made since May 24th that she plans to bring into evidence during Guerrero's sentencing hearing. Earlier this week, the government played back recording of Guerrero phone conversations with his mom and others about plans to allegedly bring in contraband into the Hagåtña detention facility. This morning, the government asked for a continuance of his sentencing to allow for DAA Task Force Officer Henry James to review the new recordings and decode the language. Defense counsel Jay Arreola objected, however, the court sided with the government. Guerrero's sentencing was continued to June 25th. He was arrested in January of last year for allegedly storing and distributing meth out of a Leo Palace Resort hotel room. The Guam Police Internal Affairs investigation into the Jerry Kitchen case is ongoing. It was earlier this week when information from a joint follow-up investigation revealed that the driver and passengers of the red Jeep were drunk driving. Subsequently, 30-year-old Nikita Uggan faces a DWI charge. It was on February 25th that the Tamunin restaurant was destroyed after the red Jeep crashed into it. As we reported, one of the passengers was an off-duty cop and the responding officer did not conduct a field sobriety test. Although GPD contended there was no conspiracy or cover-up, GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapal.
We understand the concerns of the community and instructing and moving forward with a follow-up reinvestigation of the incident to be able to open up more detailed information. This is really the trigger, sort of say that move the investigation forward with the Office of the Attorney General and of course our investigators from the Internal Affairs with an administrative portion. So
Sergeant Tapal was unable to confirm if any officers have been placed on administrative leave pending the Internal Affairs investigation. A handful of residents who tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday were identified from the same workplace but aren't a threat to our island's population. Here's more. On Thursday, the Joint Information Center reported 11 new cases positive out of 331 samples tested for COVID-19. 6 of them are employed at the same office. DPHSS Chief Public Health Officer Chima Mbakum confirmed and said that the 6 is not considered a cluster.
It's more like a workplace exposure, but it's contained. It's a workplace that has very little impact on what is going to happen in the population. So what we've done is we've completed the contact investigation, and there are 9 workplace contacts. 5 of them are in home quarantine already. 1 of them is deemed a low risk, and then the other 3 are also in home quarantine. So it's already contained.
Mbakum didn't name the office.
No, it's a workplace that doesn't really have anything to do with the larger population. So that's why it's,
right.
If it's like a restaurant or a bank, yeah, it's just a little office place.
Although Mbakum didn't say the 6 were vaccinated, but for those who are, this is an example that we aren't out of the woods.
The pandemic is not yet over. And I always say this because the good numbers and the good things happening on Guam is evident of the good work that is being done by the island, both public health and the people of the island.
Mbakum acknowledges that COVID vaccination numbers are looking great, but public health is looking at ways to better smoothen the process. Guam residents who show their proof of vaccine can travel to the CNMI without being quarantined, and vice versa for CNMI residents. Guam Public Health and the Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation signed a memorandum of agreement that provides for the reciprocal policy. Passengers from the CNMI arriving in Guam must present a valid photo ID and their official CNMI immunization record. Likewise, all passengers from Guam arriving in the CNMI must present a valid photo ID, complete an online health declaration form, and are encouraged to upload their lifetime Guam immunization record. The agreement became effective May 27th and will remain in effect until the expiration of the COVID public health emergency. 1 in 5 Guam residents and 1 in 4 Guam businesses were seriously impacted by the COVID pandemic. Those are among the sobering findings from a pair of University of Guam reports released today. KUAM's Nestor Lecanto has more.
The reports were released by UOG's Regional Center for Public Policy under the School of Business and Public Administration. Data was collected from more than 700 randomly selected residents and more than 400 local businesses. According to a news release, the key findings of the Residential Impact Report include those most affected by the pandemic were Chamorro women under the age of 40 with a high school education or less, an income of less than $20,000 per year, and living with 7 or more persons. Those least affected were Filipino men over age 40 having some college education or more, an income of $50,000 or more per year, married, living with 4 or fewer persons. The report also found that the majority of unemployment applicants were Filipino women under age 40 having a household income of less than $30,000, with no higher education, living in households with 3 to 4 people, those with no children, and those with jobs in service-related industries. Key highlights of the Business Impact Report include the private sector experienced a 66% decline in revenue in 2020 compared to 2017. Construction industry revenues fared 45% better than all other businesses. Nearly half of tourism businesses have furloughed most or all of their employees, with 12% continuing to pay those employees. More than 1/3 of tourism businesses have laid off employees, with 20% having laid off all of their employees. 25% of all businesses had to temporarily or permanently close in 2020. 4% of those had to permanently close. UOG professor Roseanne Jones led the research with support from Market Research and Development, Inc. and student interns. Funding support was provided by CARES Act funds through the Office of the Governor. The reports are viewable at www.guamrecovery.com. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
With Prism Home Wi-Fi, I'm not just getting smart Wi-Fi that adapts and delivers consistent speeds that cater to my lifestyle needs. I'm getting peace of mind with real-time online security that monitors every device on my network. Parental controls with the ability to filter age-appropriate content for my child. And with HomePass, I have full control over my network and so much more. Experience Wi-Fi and beyond with Prism Home Wi-Fi, powered by Plume HomePass from GTA.
Social distancing may be the new norm, but connection will always be our tradition. Through good times and tough times, we remain connected with you. Masks may be the new fashion, but protection will always be our style. You can always count on us to protect the things that matter the most. Sanitizing may be the new routine, but caring will always be our practice. We care about your loved ones and the things you value the most. And as we welcome our new normal, one thing remains certain: we will always be here for you. We're open and ready to serve you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
And instant prizes from Foot Locker and Burger King. Win the best-selling 2021 Toyota Corolla LE, the crossover SUV 2021 Toyota RAV4 LE, and the dynamic luxury SUV 2021 BMW X1. The more you shop, the more chance to win. In the Micronesia Malls, shop and win.
It's a special delivery to your inbox every week with your KUAM News Roundup, program advisories, and promotions. Sign up for the weekly KUAM Digital Digest today on KUAM.com.
Welcome back. Class will soon be in session for GDOE students that will be attending summer school. Although the number of students may not have met the department's goal, it's still much more than what they expected. KUAM's Tyler Matsinani reports.
About 5,400 students are registered for GDOE's summer school program. As Superintendent John Fernandez explains, that's almost 3 times the amount they normally get.
We're very excited about that number going up. I mean, it isn't 28,000, but it is, a much larger number than we normally get.
Fernandez says this indicates several things. One being that confidence is regaining in returning kids to school. And 2, an appreciation of the fact that the pandemic has had serious consequences in terms of the progress of students.
And they need to get students back, into the school settings. And then, I think third, it really reflects a growing sentiment that Guam as a community is in a much safer place.
He says this means the department needs to start preparing for what will hopefully be a broader reopening come next school year. He reminds everyone that although the deadline for summer school registration has passed, they won't turn any students away if they choose to do summer school, which starts June 7th.
For the elementary and middle school students, it really is an opportunity for extra tutoring, extra support in terms of the core content areas. And it's not really, it's not a graded, summer school, meaning you can't make up your grade from last year, or it doesn't become part of your grade for the coming year.
For high school students, however, summer school is much more critical. Normally, they're allowed to earn up to 1 credit, but they'll now be allowed to earn up to 2. Fernandez says this will help any student who might have fallen back over the last year and a half. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matsinani.
The Guam Department of Education will host a series of parent input sessions next week, which will cover 2 key topics. One is the state strategic plan, which will show what the department will be doing for the next 5 years. And two, the new grading policy, which has been revised by teachers and admin. GDOE Public Information Officer Interim Michelle Franquez.
The point of this is that we really want our parent and family stakeholders to feel included in the discussion. This is their opportunity to share their thoughts on what were our areas of growth, our areas of glows. Just give us some maybe of their comments and recommendations that they think we should focus on.
Each session will be held via Zoom and live streamed on Facebook. Both Zoom and Facebook comments will be monitored and shared with GDOE leaders. Anyone unable to tune into the sessions but would like to send their questions, comments, or concerns can email input@gdoe.net. All emails will be addressed by the superintendent and deputy superintendents. Get vaccinated and get a chance to fly free on United Airlines for a year. The carrier is giving away 5 of those grand prizes along with 30 pairs of round-trip tickets to anywhere you like to fly in the month of June. United Managing Director of Airport Operations for Asia Pacific, Sam Shinohara, says they believe widespread vaccinations are the key to getting travelers back on planes.
We really need to find a way to kind of protect ourselves, and I think this is the best way to do it. And so hopefully this is incentivize longer lines at UOG and at the Hyatt and everywhere else that we're doing vaccination. So we're trying to do our part for sure.
You can register online at united.com/yourshot2fly and upload a copy of your vaccination card. Meanwhile, United also announced customers traveling from Guam to Honolulu who have a valid negative COVID-19 test can show the results before boarding to save time and skip document screening lines upon arrival.
Register, load your test results, get a wristband from United, and all you have to do is show your wristband and you're on your way and you can enter Hawaii without worrying about quarantine or long lines or an additional health check.
Transit passengers can also avoid the screening lines by similarly uploading their negative test results taken within 72 hours of departure. Department of Rev and Tax has processed and will be mailing checks or paying via direct deposit 3,368 tax refunds this week, totaling a little over $8.5 million. These include refunds that were garnished to repay Gov Guam debts and are for error-free returns filed on or before March 5th of this year. DRT adds to check the status of your income tax refund, log into your individual account at myguamtax.com and use the lookup status of the 1040 refund tool. National Weather Service Landon Adlet is clearing up rumors about heavy weather and disturbance that may be circulating on Memorial Day weekend. Tropical showers may have washed over the island, but they're not here to stay.
When I said they're rated low by the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, that's basically indicating tropical cyclone development is unlikely in the next 24 hours. And the shaded area in yellow, that's the area of possible tropical cyclone development in the next week. So this area is just south of Guam.
The NWS will continue to monitor closely for any kind of changes. Adlet says the threat for tropical cyclone development to pass over Guam is very minimal as long as these things are still out there to the southeast of our island. Coming up, sports, and still to come, your Coastal and Creamery birthday shout-out. Keep it here.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your fourth meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Mas.
Half a day. As we look ahead to a brighter tomorrow, Matson's commitment to Guam and Micronesia remains stronger than ever. While the world around us is ever changing, what remains unchanged is our commitment to you, our customers, and the island communities we serve. Shipping is what we do best, and serving our community is at the heart of everything we do. But we don't do it alone. This is why we support organizations that make caring for the people and the environment a top priority. We know that many count on Matson's lifeline services in the Pacific, and that's why we continue to work hard to ensure that our shipments remain on time all the time. Matson recently added another Aloha-class vessel to our schedule, We now have two of Matson's largest and fastest ships serving Guam from the U.S. West Coast and Hawaii. With our new state-of-the-art vessels, we stand ready to support the region's economic recovery. Thank you for the privilege of serving you for the last 25 years, and you can count on Matson to be here for the next 25 years and beyond.
There will come a time when people talk about how Hyundai makes the best car on the road. Now seems about right. The technologically advanced Hyundai Elantra is the 2021 North American Car of the Year.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. I'll get to an interview with Team Matau in just a bit, along with some news on this weekend's drifting event. But first off, some high school championship track and field for you. Check it out. The 2021 ESA track season came to an end with athletes stepping onto the podium for their accomplishments. Let's recap some of the event winners, starting with the women's 100-meter hurdles. Taya Mendiola from Simon Sanchez was first at 18.1. Maria Calvo from JFK was second at 18.83. Kieran Abad from Ukadu was third at 19.06. Men's 110-meter hurdles, JFK's Jovan Pineda was first at 16.09. Giancarlo Hemerlin from Guam High was second at 17.90. Xander Duenas from Teason High was third at 18.23. Men's long jump, Jalen Thatch from Guam High was first at 5.72 meters. Second place was Trevon Jacobs at 5.61 meters, representing Guam High. Jovan Pineda from JFK took third at 5.51 meters. Women's 100-meter race, first place Kaylee Guerrero from Guam High at 14.03. Second place was Megan Shepard from Guam High at 14.25. Third place was Sadie Tamanda from Simon Sanchez at 14.35. Men's 100 meters was a clean sweep by Guam High. First place, Andre Johnson at 11.7. Aaron Johnson was second at 11.9. Third place was Jalen Thatch at 12 seconds. Let's check in with the Matau, who are out in Shanghai for round 2 of their FIFA World Cup qualifiers. Team Guam is prepared to take on a country with a population of over 1 billion. On Sunday, Guam's underdog mentality will be used as motivation against the host country.
We're closer than ever, you know. We've worked way too hard, especially with how hard COVID hit and trainings and matches got taken away. Like, we want this more than ever, you know. We owe it to ourselves because our coach also had to leave, Carl Dodd, and then it's just us. And we're working hard for each other, and that's all we can do. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to the people of Guam to just play with all our heart.
The Matau is set to play in front of a sold-out Shanghai crowd of 30,000 fans. China defeated Guam 7-0 the last time they met in 2019.
As an athlete, it's more exciting than anything, you know, to be playing in front of a big crowd, to actually feel the full experience on the pitch. It's always very exciting to step on the pitch for something that's bigger than you are. You know, it's for our island and our own pride back home. So definitely feeling really good about this, and super stoked to just be a part of it again.
This year marks the 15th year of organized drifting competitions on Guam. Big shout out to Upshift ENT for making that possible. Drivers will be kicking off the season for the 2021 Pro Line Drifting Championships on Sunday at the Guam International Raceway Asphalt Oval Track. Make sure to log on to guamraceway.com for start and end times. Current government and DPHSS restrictions will be enforced at the raceway. Admission is free for spectators. Well, that's going to do it for sports. We're back right after this.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
It only gets better with more. Customize and save with the fastest internet speeds in the Marianas by adding mobile, phone, and TV to your bundle with Business Bundles Plus. Docomo Pacific Business. Work better together.
Half a day.
Hi.
That will be $20, please.
I forgot my Mobile Smiles driver's rewards card.
No worries. You can now use your registered mobile number to earn points.
Can I use my mobile number to redeem rewards?
Sure. Just show us your photo ID or driver's license.
That's easy.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
All right, it's time to wrap up the work week and say happy birthday to our birthday club. Happy birthday to Mike Evaristo, dad to our kids, papa to our grandkids, Mr. Mike to countless school bus riders, and my partner for life. With much love from your whole family. And a very happy birthday to KUAM's very own Lacey Martinez. Happy birthday from the entire family. Happy birthday, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.
Remember, you can be a part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online at KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo and your name and birthday. And it's the time of the week where we announce the winner of a delicious Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club. Congratulations to Elsa Kinsey. That's going to do it for tonight here on Primetime. Thanks for watching. Good night.